Welcome to the Yara Hotel in Palm Springs where we're at today, and we're going to get to meet the owners of this beautiful boutique hotel, get to see how they did it, how they found it, how they financed it, how they manage it. So let's go do this walkthrough. All right, guys, we're here at the Yara Hotel with DJ and Amanda. We're sitting in one of the beautiful rooms here. So welcome to the channel, guys.
Oh, thanks so much for having us. Thanks for stopping by, too.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us. We got to walk in, see the beautiful landscaping here and just how this whole hotel came together, which is cool to see. So set the stage for us a little bit. Tell us, where we're at, kind of a little background about the hotel, and we'll kind of get into, how the deal developed, but just kind of where we're at now.
Hey, we're in Palm Springs, California. There's a lot of hotels in the area. The hotels all tend to kind of follow the same vibe, which is very kitschy, very loud, very in your face, and they still do very well. They're still very beautiful. We wanted to do something a little different here. Our partners were inspired by hotels in Bali, the Mediterranean, and we wanted to bring that feel to the desert. So we like to call this place a boutique oasis in the heart of the desert.
Just from a macro level, it's a really great place to invest in hotels. It's a 2-hour drive from a lot of major cities like San Diego and Los Angeles. It's also a very popular destination spot from, some short flights away. It is a really well-traveled place with a lot to offer: culture, food, music, and just really great people all around.
And we talk about this on this channel a lot, like, where do I look for boutique hotels, or where's a good market to buy my first boutique hotel? And you think about Palm Springs, right? It's very regulated on the residential Airbnb side, which is a good thing for boutique hotels, because like you guys with this property here, and Josh and Diana with their new hotel in Palm Springs, it's zoned commercial. So you're permitted for the nightly rental on all your rooms. Like, you don't have to get the permits like the other STRs do. You're not limited by your length of stay, by your number of reservations per year, by any of that stuff.
Right.
So I like regulated markets, and they can attest to it here of the ADRs and the occupancies, which we'll talk about later. But that regulated market for boutique hotels is actually a positive.
Yeah, I agree.
So this is your guys' first hotel. What got you into wanting to do that in the first place, and kind of how that led, like with your guys' background, into getting your first boutique hotel deal?
So we're not hoteliers by trade. Our background comes from flipping houses. That's how we got into real estate. We started flipping houses in the Joshua Tree area, which most people know it's a very robust vacation market. There's a lot of short-term rentals out there. We flipped our first house, sold it to a short-term rental investor. We made a lot of money on that house, so that's what got us thinking like, hey, what's up with this short-term rental market? We eventually established our own portfolio of Airbnbs in the Joshua Tree area, so that was our entrance into hospitality. We used to leverage property management in the very beginning because before I started taking over our portfolio, I wanted to learn from the pros, right? I don't have a background in short-term rental management. Our old partners at the time, we were doing a walkthrough of one of our short-term rentals, which happens to be an international award-winning short-term rental.
Really?
So the same designer that we used here at Yara, we used for our short-term rental called Finca in Bali. She submitted that and won an international award. And so our now partner, Moody, he wanted to replicate that in a boutique hotel. So thankfully, he had an opportunity of a pocket listing of this hotel, Yara Hotel, which was inoperable at the time. And this hotel shares a similar aesthetic to Finca no Bali in that it has the rounded edges, kind of this older Spanish style architecture. And so that's what really got him thinking like, hey, these folks would be good folks to partner with so we could execute on this boutique hotel.
I don't think this concept, especially on a small 10-unit boutique hotel, really delivers and hits home if the design's not there, right? Like if you come in and it misses off the vibe, or if it's the same as every other hotel or every other short-term rental in Palm Springs, there's nothing to make you stand out, and there's nothing to get those higher ADRs and higher occupancies that makes this a successful deal. Because I think a lot of times that can hold people up, or give people some hesitations, like, I don't have the design experience, like I can't go do this on a hotel. Well, you guys didn't either, and I don't either. Like that's not my specialty. Like I hire and work with the people who that is their specialty.
Yeah, so the design actually posed a lot of challenges for us here in Palm Springs. It's very mid-century, quintessential color, pop, pattern, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I think it's beautiful and it's done well. But we wanted to bring a different vibe, and that was a risk. We had local designers who who were trying to push us away from our original vision and saying, no, you're better off doing this. It's not going to do well as a quote unquote beige hotel. But we knew what our vision was, and we wanted to stick to it, and we're glad we did. But it was a risk.
And you see that in so many markets across the country, whether it's Palm Springs or Panama City Beach, where I have several listings. The Smokies, like if you look on Airbnb, if you look on the online, you see a lot of the same design, a lot of the same inspiration.
Yep.
Everything kind of blends together, and then it's just commoditized. Like all you have to swing people to you as the host is price, and then you're chasing prices to the bottom.
That's a good point.
But when you differentiate yourself with better design, stand out more and can charge higher rates. So I mean,
don't cut corners there, because there's a huge ROI. So spend time on that, put a lot of thought into it, and find the right people on your team.
With that, the background of Flipping Houses had the award-winning STR that inspired the design of this, how the partners have found it. How did that lead into you guys getting to the deal? And then we can talk about how you pieced it together with your financing, capital raise, stuff like that.
Once we realized that there was a shared interest between us and our now partners in taking this on, it was just organizing a series of meetings, talking about roles and responsibilities, clearly outlining who was going to do what from the very beginning, and again, playing on our strengths and our weaknesses so that we can really focus on what we're good at. And after a couple of meetings, we realized we were really excited about this project. It's something that we wanted to take on. So the next piece, of course, was financing.
Yeah, so we got it under contract, let's say spring of 2022. And of course, like any other seller, he wanted to close in 3 weeks, right?
Yeah. Every time.
Right, but so he wanted to close quickly, and we were taking over the property about 90% renovated. He had been under construction for the last 3 years through COVID. So he was looking just to offload this. The seller was not an operator. He was more of a flipper. He was looking to get out of it as quickly as possible. So he wanted a 6-week close, and that led us to a decision point on the financing, because something like SBA, which has better rates and better LTVs, can close in 6 weeks. It was going to be too difficult, so we had to get in very, very quickly. That led us to decide to go with a bridge or hard money loan, a commercial loan, and we looked for immediately to people we had worked with previously in our networks, people we had closed with loans before, and we were able to get a few LOIs, but we decided to go with a hard money lender in our network who covered about 71% of the purchase. Unfortunately, this lender could not cover any of the renovation, but we are...
So loan of value instead of loan of cost.
Correct. Loan of value, and they capped it at 71% of the purchase. So we had to come in with a little bit of a down payment and then find a way to fund our holding and closing costs, which was also important because the property or the hotel had not been operating for several years. So there was nothing really to keep income coming in through the door while we were under renovation.
And you guys make a really good point about the difficulty oftentimes really to finance these hotels. Like a value add hotel or something that can become a boutique hotel, really all the value is in the renovations, the design upgrades, getting it live on Airbnb and all that stuff that we talk about, right? But if the current income when you purchase it doesn't cover the debt service of what your purchase debt is going to be, right, and the loan that you use to purchase it, that cuts out a lot of lenders. Yes. And I've done this. Like I've had 3 of mine that have been seller financed. The other ones have been some version of commercial hard money or a bridge loan to do the renovation, then refinancing with more conventional debt or government-backed agency debt. Like right now we're doing the same thing at our hotel in Tennessee. So we purchase with bridge debt to close by the end of the year, lock in the tax benefits. The seller wasn't going to extend us anymore. So we closed with the bridge debt, and now we're working through our refinance process to get our construction loan funds with the USDA, which is similar to SBA, but just a different government agency. So I like that you guys highlighted that and went through it, because that's what you're going to see in these hotel deals is, you have to work harder to put the pieces together. But I think you guys can probably attest, like 10 units all on one site, larger margins, better operating efficiencies, a lot easier than if you did 10 STRs that are easier to finance individually, but those 10 different transactions are a lot harder than the management on the back end is a lot harder. So in my opinion, it's easier to work harder on the one deal, get it closed, and then you focus on that one transaction. It's just easier to manage after that.
I agree. Yeah, the economies of scale is there for 10 units versus 10 individual homes. And again, for regulations, the commercial zoning is a massive, massive advantage. But what's going to help indicate your type of financing is how much time you have to close and what's the operating history of the hotel. In my experience, a lot of conventional hotel lenders only cover about 51% loan to value, and then they need a ton of operating history. So if you don't have those things, you have to go SBA. If you don't have time for SBA, you just want to close as quickly as possible, you can go with hard money, a little more expensive, but it'll get you in the door, and then you can refi later, just as we have.
Or work your relationship hard with the seller to get that seller
financing.
That
Or
makes
seller
it so
finance.
much easier.
Yeah, which is even better.
But yeah, we're talking about the options for you guys, so you
Yeah.
can know how to put together these deals. All right, so when I walk in here, I see like all this furniture, all this nice decor, the good, different like 4 to 6 person amenity areas, right? The fire pit, the lounge chairs, all that stuff costs money, right? So I think that's another one of the piece of that people are like, oh man, it takes so much money to get into boutique hotels, but it always doesn't have to be your money. So how'd you guys put together the private money piece and get the down payment and the repair costs and all that kind of stuff?
We're a big fan of OPM, other people's money. I think it's a great way for you to get into more projects and help other people earn some great money alongside us. So when we were getting into this hotel, I mentioned earlier that we had the purchase covered up to 71%. Well, we brought in some sponsor equity, but we also needed to cover about $850,000 in renovations, and also include some holding and closing costs. That's another few $100,000 for a pretty large size loan. So we had a couple of options. We could either syndicate and bring in some equity investors, but we ended up deciding to raise private capital in the form of debt. We raised about $1.2 million when it was all said and done over the life of the project. That funded our closing costs, our renovation, and all of our FF&E, and also some holding costs along the way. When we went to refi, which we did in SBA 504, about 18 months later, we were able to pay off those investors and get into a 30-year permanent fixed loan.
So Big Burr B&B.
Big Burr B&B, yes.
Yeah, a Burr Boutique Hotel. But we were comfortable with this model because we had executed on it so many times with our fix and flips. So the hybrid strategy of utilizing hard and private money, raising capital. We were very familiar with how to raise capital. We had a lot of investors. We all paid them out before. So we were comfortable with the idea. This was just a couple of extra zeros at the end, being
right. Same thing, but bigger, which is really like what boutique hotels is, just adding that extra zero, and it's stretching yourself and getting a little comfortable being uncomfortable with these larger deals. I did those on my first deals too, right? We were doing flips or doing Airbnbs with residential properties where we'd get hard money and then private money for that equity piece, or for the piece that we needed, and then we'd refinance and get the money back out with the bank loan, get everybody paid off. We'd hold it for the cash flow. So same strategy here. So it's like real estate is just adding tools to your toolbox, finding what works, and then just using those on larger projects or more projects, like however you want to scale. But yeah, boutique hotel is a great way to do it.
Yeah, raising money, we don't take it very lightly. Like, we just raised $1 million. This is years of relationships that we built with people, credibility, that track record, and if you put in the time and effort to build those relationships, when it comes time to raise the capital from that person, the trust is already there and you can move a lot more quickly. So it's just something that we want to acknowledge. It's not the easiest thing, but once you figure it out, it's an amazing tool to add to your investment business.
And just remember, the goal isn't to raise the money, it's to run the deal successfully and give those investors their return.
Correct.
That's cool. So that's when you celebrate. We saw the hotel, we talked about the design plan, how you guys found the deal and funded it. Like, love all this stuff. We talk about this all the time on the channel and our mastermind. But wanted to get into your guys' operations piece here. We saw the clubhouse. We're talking about the full-time employees. How does all that come together at the hotel here?
We're so grateful to have amazing hotel managers who have a hospitality background. So they have
super important.
Yeah, they have a food and beverage background. They understand how to cater to people, really. And so that's crucial. So we have 2 full-time managers, we have an assistant manager, we have 2 full-time cleaners, and then a 3rd cleaner that comes in on rotation. And then we also have a handyman, because things are going to break and things are going to go wrong. And so being able to have someone to quickly come and fix it is absolutely crucial.
And also, I've got the same thing. Like, we've got 2 cleaners. We pull in a 3rd as needed in the high season for my 8 unit. The only difference is we don't have the F&B. It's more of kind of like standalone Airbnbs that are all in one building. Like, we don't have all the amenities because we just have this small little lot. It's like, we'll do what we can work with.
Right.
But you kind of take that piece out, and it doesn't take that much, right? We're talking about a couple cleaners and a handyman to make sure everything goes smooth.
Yep.
And then you guys have more, higher rates, more revenue, so you can offer more and have the staff that is like that filter to keep you out of dealing with the guests here or your partners that are managing it. It just makes it really, really efficient. So that's awesome. And then is there anything like special you guys do with your upcharges or with the F&B side? We can get into like the special events, which we're talking about, but like how do you guys really maximize it? Because that's the people are like, dude, if I do this, you can do a hotel. Like how do I make sure I'm going to make enough money?
Some people forget about the liquor license. Depending on the jurisdiction, it may or may not be difficult to get it, but we went for it. And that really unlocked a lot of potential for us on the F&B side. We offer continental breakfast in the mornings, that's included, and we also offer cocktails, bartending services throughout the day, which are beautifully crafted premium cocktails done by our amazing hotel managers. So that's really helped on the F&B side, but also the level of service that we're trying to match here.
Yeah. Speaking of like upcharges and different things that we offer to guests, a pup pack, so that if guests, we are pet friendly.
We're talking about doing this at our hotel in Tennessee too, because everybody travels with dogs there.
Of course, so we don't want to leave that segment of the market out of it. People traveling with their dogs, so we want to cater to that. So we offer a pup pack, and then obviously the resort fees as well. We have weddings here that take place. We've had, I believe, 2 or 3 weddings now, which is really cool because it's a really intimate experience. It does require a little bit of finessing around on the outside and moving furniture around because it is a smaller campus, right? It's not a huge campus. And then full buyouts. So the amazing thing is we're down the road from the Coachella Music and Arts Festival that happens 2 weekends out of the year. So we recently had a full brand buyout, which is really cool because it was a skincare brand, Kopari, who bought this place out. And when people are doing buyouts, they're paying a premium. So it's pretty nice.
When you have local events, put up your rates, right? Don't sell a high demand date at a normal rate.
Correct.
Which you can do in hotels, right? Weddings, special events, right? Not that you have to buy a Coachella to make that happen, but there's all kinds of places where you can make this stuff happen. Mm-hmm. This is just a really good example of that. So that's really cool. And just kind of wanted to briefly talk about how you guys fit in with your partners, right? The roles and responsibilities that you play versus that they play. Because I think that'll give somebody, watching this insight of how you guys did it. I've talked about how I've done it with my past partnerships as well. I mean, it's really leveraging other people's strengths and mitigating against where you might be weak and make a mistake that you didn't have to make if you find the partner. So just talk about that a little bit.
So we talked about this a little bit earlier. We have a renovation background. We come from the house flipping world. Mm-hmm. So that's where our strengths lies. Myself, my wife Amanda, and Amanda's brother Oscar, our third business partner. That was our little family business that we had of renovating houses. So we understand the renovation process, project management, design. So that was our piece in this whole entire project, was making sure that we can get the project management executed, bringing the necessary designers in here and getting this place ready to go. Our 2 amazing partners, Moody and Katie, at the time that we partnered, they were managing 26 short-term rentals up in the Joshua Tree area. Right. Our partner has a digital marketing background, so he understands branding and how to make things look cool and how to leverage influencer partnerships. So we were responsible for getting this place up, ready to go. And then at launch, our partners then took over and they handle all the property management and do a phenomenal job.
Yeah, well, I think it provides a good story of, maybe you found a great deal and you don't have the money to go take it down. It's like, cool, bring somebody in, partner for the capital raise side. Or maybe you get something that's a big value add and that scares you because maybe you've only done, small fix and flips or renovations, and you need somebody with a project management background. Your brother, right?
Correct.
So that's your brother, so he provides that piece. And together, you go farther together. Commercial real estate, boutique hotels, they are a team sport, and that's what it takes. So awesome story that you guys have with it, and appreciate you guys sharing it and showing us the place. It's been a pleasure, guys, to get to meet you guys and see this place. So any last parting things of what this property is going to turn into, or what plans you guys have coming up maybe on your next boutique hotel?
So right now we're honestly just soaking it all in. Boutique hotels, as you know, they take a while to stabilize the asset as well, right? So we're in that stabilization period. Well, we're coming off of that stabilization period. So we just finished our first full 12 months of operational history. We're kind of seeing what works, what doesn't work, tweaking our systems a little bit like we chatted about to make sure that we can just be as efficient as possible. Next steps, we're definitely open to our next boutique hotel project. It's a matter of finding the right deal, I would say, and finding the right team once again.
And as far as the plan for this place, we've talked about what's the exit strategy. Do you want to hold it? Do you want to sell it? What do we want to do? And we love this place, and our goal is to keep it for as long as possible, cash flow it.
The first one's always special.
Yes, exactly, right.
See it come together.
Yeah, unless for some reason it really made sense to sell it, but for the time being, we plan to keep it in our portfolio for as long as possible.
Yeah. So if any private equity companies are out there watching, want to get that Godfather offer, they're open to it.
Yeah. Some people have also asked us, hey, is Yara gonna go abroad somewhere? Maybe Yara, Cancun or something. I don't know, right? They're talking about taking the brand elsewhere. But anyway, nothing concrete yet. We're just really enjoying kind of the fruits of our labor at this point.
Yeah, I love it. Well, it's a beautiful property, and appreciate you guys showing it and open up your doors. And yeah, if you guys have questions about how they put this together, how they raise the money, whatever, put them in the comments below, and we'll get to those. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.